How's it going, boys? Johnny Superbman here, and I'm bringing you another Questions with Superbman. But because I've been getting so many questions about the playoffs recently, we're just going to make this a playoff predictions video, alright? I'm going to answer all the questions in these videos. So for this predictions video, I'm just going to predict the first round, okay? I want to predict every single round. If you go back, I predicted at the beginning of the season a lot of weird things, and a lot of them didn't come true. So we'll just go as far as the first round here, okay? Because we have all the matchups, and some of them are interesting. Some of them are very interesting. There's two that I really have my eye on. But first, we'll start in the Western Conference. Up first, you got the Vancouver Canucks versus the LA Kings. I think the Vancouver Canucks, they won the President's Trophy once again. The LA Kings, they got a bad first round here in the Vancouver Canucks. I think the Vancouver Canucks are going to win in 5 or 6 games, no doubt, no doubt. The next series, you got the St. Louis Blues versus the San Jose Sharks. Now, this one's a tough one. As St. Louis, they're a good team. But, they're new back to the playoffs. San Jose Sharks, they're a veteran team. And is this the year they finally make it to the Stanley Cup Finals? I know they're a 7th seed, but you can't ever count out the San Jose Sharks, in my opinion. This is going to be my upset for the West. I'm going to say the San Jose Sharks over the St. Louis Blues. All right, might go to 7 games. The next series is going to be the Chicago Blackhawks versus the Phoenix Coyotes. The Chicago Blackhawks finished 6th, and they got to face the Phoenix Coyotes in the first round. They got a great draw here for the first round, and I think that they're going to beat Phoenix in 5 or 6 games. I think Phoenix, I know no one gives Phoenix any love, but I think Chicago, they're going to turn it on in the playoffs. And last year, they were out in the first round. They want blood this year. They're back. All right, so watch out, Phoenix. They're out in 5 or 6 games. And then this is the series to watch for the West for me. Detroit versus Nashville. Both these teams should be in the second round at least, but one of them have to be eliminated in the first round. Detroit, they're great on home ice, but the Nashville Predators actually have home ice advantage in this series. But if I got to choose one, I'm going to pick the Detroit Red Wings. I'm going to go with Detroit. I don't think Radulov is going to, be the savior of the Nashville Predators. I don't think they're going to go anywhere. Well, it's not that they're not a good team. I just think Detroit is going to beat them. Lidstrom, he's got something left in him. Datsuk, Zetterberg, all right, you got to watch out for Detroit. So I'm picking Detroit. All right, so there's my first round winners for the Western Conference. Vancouver over LA, San Jose over St. Louis, Chicago over Phoenix, and Detroit over Nashville. And if we move off to the Eastern Conference, we have the New York Rangers versus the Ottawa Senators. A very interesting series. Does Ottawa match up good against the Rangers because of their speed? I want to see what Erik Karlsson does in this series. I want to see if he costs them a game or two with his flamboyancy and is always pinching up. You know what I'm saying? I want to see what happens in that series. I do think, though, that the New York Rangers are going to win. They're due. They're due. And now that they have the first seed in the East, this is the season they really got to show everybody that they're a contender, basically. John Tortorella is going to have those guys going, so I got to pick the Rangers. Then you have the Boston Bruins versus the Washington Capitals. I think this is a great matchup for Boston. I think they're going to be able to shut down Ovechkin and Backstrom if he comes back. I forget if he's back from his concussion. But, if they shut down their star players, which Boston can do, Boston's got it. And they're a big team. They're going to grind down their defense. And right now, Washington, who's their goalie? Holtby, Neuwirth, Vokoun, who's their goalie? I got to go with Boston. The next series, man, the Boer series for me. Nothing against these two teams, but, man, the Florida Panthers matched up against the New Jersey Devils. And you have teams like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh going against each other in the first round. Well, whatever. I mean, that's how the divisions work. But I know Florida's ranked 3rd, but I got to give the edge to the New Jersey Devils. I think the Devils are going to beat Florida, and I think they're going to beat them convincingly. I think it's all up to Martin Brodeur, but I think the New Jersey Devils are the more seasoned playoff team. I think they will beat the Panthers. And the series to watch in the East, you had the West with Detroit, Nashville. The one to watch in the East, for me, has to be the Philadelphia Flyers versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. My goodness gracious, this series is going to be outstanding. The Battle of Pennsylvania, man. Oh my God. This is probably going to go to 7 games, but if I'm going to choose one team, it's got to be the Pittsburgh Penguins. I know, but I know it may sound cliche, but Crosby, everyone was asking, is he back? He's fine. Trust me, he is fine. And Malkin, he's playing like he's never played before. If those guys keep clicking, they don't get injured, I mean, Pittsburgh might just be unstoppable. So I think it's going to be a good series, a tightly contested series, but Pittsburgh's got home ice advantage. I think it might come down to that Game 7 home ice win for the Pittsburgh Penguins, all right? So for the East, you got the Rangers over Ottawa, the Bruins over Washington, the Devils over Florida, and the Pittsburgh Penguins over Philly. All right, so they're my predictions for the first round. We're going to watch the first round. We're going to come back, and we're going to watch see the second round seeds and then make predictions again. I could go ahead and make predictions all the way to the end, but let's wait to the second round to see the actual seeds, see how many I get right, see how many I get wrong. Now, because this is still questions with Superbman, I've been getting the questions, who do I think is going to win? I've said this before, I'll say it again, the Pittsburgh Penguins. You know, I said when Crosby was still injured, I said if he comes back and he is still Crosby and Malkin is still doing what he's doing and, you know, Marc-Andre Fleury is Marc-Andre Fleury and James Neal keeps having the great breakout season that he's having, Chris Letang is who he is, they might just have an unstoppable team. They have a tough team in the first round in Philadelphia. They match up well against them. But I still got to pick the Pittsburgh Penguins. If you're going to make me choose one team, I got to pick the Pittsburgh Penguins. All right, I know I kind of want to say the Vancouver Canucks as well, but if one team, I got to go with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I was also getting a question, Johnny, which team am I going to cheer for in the playoffs? Because my Leafs aren't in it. Ha ha ha, good joke. You know what? It's weird. I don't go into the playoffs because I've actually had a lot of experience with this in the last few years. I don't go into the playoffs thinking I'm cheering for this team. What I do is I watch the playoffs unfold, and usually by the end of the first round, mid-second round, I have a team that I have in my mind that I want to win. Like last year was the Boston Bruins. After they beat the Montreal Canadiens, you know, and I saw them pushing forward, I was like, all right, man, I want to see Boston win. And I got to watch their games, got familiar with all their players, right? I think that's how I really can get behind a team. It's going to depend on which teams I watch during the playoffs here. But I think Pittsburgh, I think I could get behind Pittsburgh if Crosby and Malkin start playing well. I'm going to be able to watch those games. You know they're going to televise those games. So I might get behind Pittsburgh. I don't think I want Boston to win again because now they're not the underdog. You know what I mean? Now they're kind of like the superpower. I know I'm a Toronto fan. I should never say this, but Ottawa, I wouldn't mind seeing Ottawa go far. You know, they're an underdog team. I always like seeing an underdog team. So in the East, it hasn't been really determined for me yet. I'd say, you know what, I could end up chilling for Philadelphia as well. I like that team as well. So I think whoever comes out of the Philadelphia-Pittsburgh series, again, I'm not going to be a bandwagon hopper, but you're asking me who I'm cheering for. I think Philadelphia or Pittsburgh from the East, and from the West, I mean, you can say Vancouver just because I'm Canadian. Nah, I'd rather see somebody like San Jose Sharks. You know, they'd be a nice story to finally get there. Detroit as well. So I guess from the West and Nashville. From the West, you know, whoever comes out of the Detroit-Nashville series, those two great series, man. Philly and Pittsburgh and Detroit-Nashville. The two teams that come out of those two series, I'm going to be cheering for, and I wouldn't mind seeing San Jose Sharks. So there's my answer for that. I know it's not a direct answer, but, you know, when I don't have my favorite team is the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's never going to change. So it's gonna, you know, once I watch a few games and, you know, the heroes start to come out and the stories start to be made, that's when I'll start to, you know, lean towards certain teams. All right, so there you go, boys. There's my questions with Superbman. There's my playoff predictions. Let me know, what are your predictions? Is there going to be any crazy upsets like the LA Kings beating the Vancouver Canucks? All right, or how about the Ottawa Senators beating the Rangers? I don't know. It might be a crazy year. I think the one upset for me is San Jose over St. Louis. That's the one upset for me. I don't consider New Jersey over Florida an upset, but we're going to have to wait and see. It's going to be a great playoffs, boys. Try to watch every single game you can. Trust me, you don't want to miss any of it. But because before you know, it's going to be down to 8 teams, then 4 teams, and 2 teams, and then no hockey. So enjoy it while it's at 16 teams, all right? For Johnny Superbman and the Great Domsky, take it easy, boys, and we'll see you next time.